viewers, welcome to another episode of AUST on Queen Amina TV. As you all know, it's all about the African University of Science and Technology, and we have been discussing episodes upon episodes, So before we go on, I am Amina Ilyasu, and the theme today is Engineering Stronger Futures, Material Innovation, and the Science of Sustainability. Together with me on this platform today is Dr. Vitalis. He is the Dean of School of Engineering and Head of Department, Material Science and Engineering. Sir, you are welcome to this platform.
Thank you very much, Amina. It's my pleasure.
Yes. So Dr. Vitalis, as you know, is not from Nigeria, but he is now a Nigerian. I wouldn't say that. I won't say much. Let me allow the man to speak for himself. Dr. Vitalis, we have viewers right there watching us right now. And I know they are already interested to knowing who you are, because I said you are not from Nigeria. Okay. So this is what we are doing here. It's African University, so of course we expect to see many people from different, different countries from Africa also participating here to make it really Africa. So, sir, tell us about yourself. How did you find yourself in Nigeria?
Interesting. Thank you so much. I'm Vitalis Anye. So I came to Nigeria about 16 years ago as a postgraduate student to study material science and engineering.
16 years?
Yeah. So,
wow.
And ever since then, I've been hooked. And I did my master's here, funded by African Development Bank sponsorship.
Wow.
And later also did my PhD and graduated in 2015. And then I worked at Nile University of Nigeria. Then it was called Nigerian Turkish University. And I did that for about 7 years. Then I came back to AUST as a faculty. So.
Wow. So the AUST, saw somebody very potential, Dr. Vitalis, and they said, no, you're not going to go. We will keep you here. And I pray you're going to stay here. You're going to get married here. Or you already have a wife, a Nigerian woman.
I'm married with 4 kids. No, a Cameroonian woman.
No. This time you go into polygamy, we're going to give you a Nigerian wife, of course.
There will be protests.
Okay, madam, I'm just joking. You are fine. Yes. So Dr. Anye, Dr. Vitalis Anye is the name. And let's go. Dr. Vitalis. Material science is often described as the invisible foundation of modern civilization. What exactly is material science and engineering, and why is this field so important in technological advancement?
Okay, material science and engineering is a field that deals with the study of how materials are designed, how they are processed, how they are characterized, that is determining their properties, and how they are being used to solve different engineering problems. So it's very important because it connects physics, chemistry, mathematics, technology, and how you can make these connections to actually produce materials that are stronger, smarter, and more sustainable. So it's a very important discipline. And if you look back, different human civilizations have been shaped by the materials that they had. If you look at the Stone Age, predominantly they had stone, wood as what they used for their materials. They moved to the Bronze Age, then we moved to the Steel Age, we moved to the Polymer Age, we moved to the Silicon Age, that's the electronic revolution in the 20th century. And then now we are in the IT age and the nanotechnology age, where everything has shrunk. If you look at the first computers that were made in the 1950s,
Sure.
the first computer could fill the entire room. Only the number of cables, the length of the cables was over 500 miles. But now
Wow.
we have our handsets that act like
Sure.
computers, or they
Right.
even do better than those computers.
Right.
So it is thanks to materials development. So materials are very useful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, sir, how much of humanity's progress can actually be traced to breakthroughs in materials innovation?
Like I said, everything depends on materials. You know, because if you think about different innovations,
Right.
think about the smartphones that we have, you think about the battery systems that we have, think about different infrastructures, buildings. If you think about energy systems, you would think of the materials that make them perform what they are performing or make them reliable.
Right.
So it's very, very important. You know, our civilization, our development has been
Sure.
shaped by advances in materials. Like I tell the students in class, if you look at the development in the aerospace industry, for instance, if you look at the first Ford cars in the late 19th century, they were the shape of a horse carriage. But now, thanks to advances in materials, we now have, you know, Ford cars that, you know, are very modern. And the materials input there is thanks to the development in materials,
Sure.
you know.
Right. So, sir, we can see that as we go, huge things before are becoming
Yeah, shrinking,
smaller. So, with what we have right now, do you think we'll still have smaller ones in the future? Like, can cars become smaller in
Yes.
size?
Yes, of course. We are getting to a level where even you look at the television set there, your big television set, you can have a situation where there's what we were talking about, organic electronics.
Sure.
That's electronics based on polymers. There are some type of plastics that conduct electricity, and because they are plastics, you can easily fold them. You can easily, you know, stretch them. So
Sure.
we are getting to a point where you can have your large TV screen and then you fold it and put it in your pocket.
Wow.
So you get to a point where you just pull out the stuff and then you can watch any program.
Sure.
So we can get cars smaller and smaller because we're in the nanotechnology area. And nano means, you know, the
Small.
very small, yeah.
Sure.
The tiny, yeah.
Sure. There was this film called Matrix where one can just imagine going from here to another country and he appears there. Do you think with time, sir, things like that can happen with material engineering?
Well, that is somehow metaphysical, but it's possible that we are getting to a level like now we have been talking about flying cars. Already in Rwanda, they are implementing that. They have
In
you know,
Rwanda?
yes, they
Wow.
have demos of flying cars. So which means that the issues around, you know, traffic congestion, maybe you are in the traffic and
Sure.
you know you just turn on the you switch the mode of your car to flying mode, and then the car just kind of flies. You know, so we are getting to that level with advances, particularly now with breakthroughs in AI, because now we are using AI to discover new materials.
Sure.
You know, which is faster.
Sure.
So we can get to those kind of levels.
Sure. So will it be fair, sir, to say that every engineering revolution begins first as a material revolution?
Exactly. That would be okay, because you cannot innovate without thinking about the materials. If you want to build, let's say, better energy storage
Sure.
systems, batteries, for instance, you have to think of the materials that will go in. Will they perform what you want them to perform? So you need to think about the material selection, even as you think about the performance.
Yeah. So this is Dr. Vitalis Anye discussing about material engineering. Material engineering, sir.
Yeah, material science and engineering.
Yeah, material science engineering.
Yes.
So, sir, what is the future of this field in the AUST? What are the targets? Like, let's say 20 years, in 20 years' time, what will this department be able to achieve?
Yeah, as a department and also as a school of engineering, we are looking at, you know, gaining more grounds in research that is
Okay.
globally recognized. And then we are also looking at entrepreneurship, making sure that the research that we do doesn't just end on the shelves. You know, we don't just insist that, okay, our PhD students, they should publish articles. How do we move those articles from the lab, from the shelves to the
Yeah.
market, commercialization? Then also we are looking forward to building stronger partnerships with the industries and with other international institutions and even development agencies, such that it will attract investment in research and development. Then we want to also make sure that out of the research we can get, patterns that are impactful, not just patterns for getting patterns sake. And we are already gaining some grounds in that. In fact,
Okay.
recently, one of our PhD students who graduated, he defended his PhD in January this year. He developed 3 patterns. He was working on a problem that has to do with using phytochemicals, that's extracts from plants that are in Nigeria,
So.
to be able to mitigate corrosion in pipelines.
Okay.
And because this guy, he has been working in the oil and gas industry
Yes,
for
sir.
almost 20 years,
Right.
so he understood the problem. So when he was coming for his PhD, he was very intentional that this is a
Okay.
problem that he wants to solve.
Okay.
And he was extracting the chemicals from plants like moringa, soursop, and stuff,
Right.
different aspects of the plant. And that
Wow.
is solving a critical issue in that industry.
So in Africa, sir, we have a huge deposit of natural resources. What opportunities do you think exist for creating new materials from those resources?
Yeah, there are huge opportunities. And thankfully, one of our biggest advantage as a continent is our youthful population. We have the largest number of youths globally as a continent. So we can take advantage of that. And then we have huge mineral resources, huge natural resources. So, but the problem has been, adding value to it. You just
Yes.
extract these mineral resources
Right.
and they export. But now,
Right.
yes, what we should be doing is we have to encourage the relevant industries to invest in research and development, so that working with universities conduct the research, they generate knowledge, they train talents and innovators. So how can we work and then create beneficiation plans that we can actually add value to these resources and be self-sufficient in terms of even the performance and then competing globally?
Yes.
Because if we make products that cannot compete globally, then definitely we will still rely on or will depend too much on importation, because it's our alternative.
Right. Right. So is the AUST currently working on that?
Yes, we are currently working on that because we are very open to collaboration with
Okay.
the industry. In fact, we are already talking to, in that area of mineral resources, we are talking to a mining and mineral processing company that they are into different mineral beneficiations, including lithium. Lithium is very important for making batteries, and
Okay.
we have electronic gadgets. We are talking about electric vehicles, so we need that. So we are seeing that as an opportunity for us to collaborate with this company and see how they can fund research. And they're already doing that, because already they are funding a master's student to do research in that area in the Department of Materials Science and Engineering. So we want to expand that. And once we use that as a pilot, it will now also attract other related industries to come in and say, okay, we can fund research in this department or in this university, and then look at the outcome of the research and see how it's also improving our processes and, of course, our yields.
Looking at your department, sir, I think gold, all the natural resources fall in there.
Yes.
Yes. So we know, like in Africa, we know about gold very well. We know about the crude oil. I think bitumen.
Bitumen, barite.
Yes.
Yeah.
So are there other natural resources that have not been explored at all. That people do not know about them.
Yes, there are a number of others. Aside these mineral resources that you have listed, we also have agricultural residues,
Okay.
biomass, laterite, clay, that people haven't really explored them fully to see how they can blend this to form materials that we call composites
Okay.
for different kinds of applications.
Right.
Yes, because we are talking now about how does industrial waste, how does agricultural waste becomes useful. Because when we're talking about sustainability, circular economy, this in circular economy, nothing is a waste. So you feed the waste back into the system. So the
Yes.
different agricultural waste or residues, how can we use them to make wealth,
Sure.
which will trigger economic growth
Sure.
ultimately? Yeah.
So there's this natural resources that is used in making phones. And I heard that it's found in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Yeah.
That is seriously mined there. But my concern is you see this mining keep going on while those areas with the deposit of these natural resources are just left like that. You don't see the impact on them. Why is it so?
Well, that's a difficult one. It requires a political response, but I would say that the particular mineral you're talking about is cobalt. Cobalt is a very useful element. It's a transition
Cobalt.
material. Cobalt is
Okay.
in one of the largest deposits of cobalt is in DR Congo,
Okay.
and that, of course, is similar to the crisis we have in the Niger Delta region, whereby the complaint that, okay, the oil is being taken from there, but the people are not being taken care of, because their land is being degraded, as a result of the oil exploitation. So I think what the people should do is, at times, some of the people in those communities or in those places, they sit back and just wait they don't position themselves for capacity building so that they can be involved
Yes.
even in the multinational companies, that because at times when they want to look for, okay, the skilled people who are skilled to work in
Yes.
those companies that do the exploration,
Right.
they are not skilled. But again, the government should be intentional, and those
Right.
companies, they should be deliberate in terms of their CSR, their corporate social responsibility, in making sure that those communities are adequately taken care of. Because even in Nigeria, we have heard of cases like the lead poisoning in Zamfara that happened because of the mining of gold there so many
Right.
years ago. So that
Right.
that affected a lot of children and a lot of people. So even the mining operations in Nigeria also, they affect the communities, but most of those communities, they don't really benefit from there.
Sure.
And it's because the community leaders, the stakeholders that are supposed to take charge and hold these companies that are taking those natural resources to do the needful, they are not doing what they are supposed to do, or they're not doing enough, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you want to say that the blame goes to the state?
Well, I will not say we are blaming, and we are urging the relevant stakeholders, including the state, to do more, because even the local communities, they have their own role to play.
Sure.
Yes, let's say if the local chiefs or the local, if they say, okay, this is what we want, that you should build the capacity of this number of people, this number of youth in this community to be able to give us a quota,
Yes.
of this number of youths to work in this area. And of course, most of them, they may not really have that skill to be grafted into the proper skilled workforce within those companies that are mining.
Okay. So, sir, let's look into stronger buildings. How do environmental conditions affect structural materials over long periods?
Yeah, absolutely. Environmental conditions, of course, like heat, temperature fluctuations, humidity, moisture, rainfall, and chemicals, they affect structures, they affect the integrity of buildings. In that, over time now, the buildings they may corrode. If there are still reinforcements around, they may suffer from corrosion. They may suffer from fatigue, and other forms of degradation. So the the important thing there is, from time to time, it's good to assess the integrity of these structures and see whether they can actually withstand the environmental conditions. And even from the inception, when engineers are designing these structures, they must think of the environments whereby these structures will operate. For instance, a building in maybe Sokoto, the conditions of the wind, the kinds of load in there will be different from a building, let's say, in the south.
Yes.
Yeah. So those environmental conditions are key. So, like we talk about, us just copying a technology and trying to paste in our own climate. In some cases, it doesn't work because maybe the temperature conditions, they are not the same as the temperature conditions here.
Yes.
So a structure made from certain materials that, can work or can stay for a long time, maybe in the West, may not be the same thing obtainable here because our environmental conditions are different.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, viewers, you've been listening to Dr. Vitalis Anye, a man from Cameroon, who is here in the African University of Science and Technology here in AUST. He is a dean of schools of engineering and also the head of department, right? Material science.
And engineering.
Material science and engineering. Dr. Vitalis, of course, you've heard from him. He is all about material engineering, and he's giving us what we need to know on this field. So stay with us. We'll be back. Don't go away. Hello, viewers. Welcome back to this great discussion on AUST on Queen Amina TV. Don't forget, we have been discussing with Dr. Vitalis Anye, the Dean of School of Engineering, also the Head of Department, Material Science and Engineering. The man from Cameroon, Dr. Vitalis. We continue. So how can universities transform societal problems into globally relevant scientific solutions?
Yeah, I think universities, they have a critical role to play in serving as engines of development, because the university should generate knowledge, they conduct research, they train different talents, they train innovators, and they should also make sure that that industry connection is there. Because if the university is generating knowledge that is not useful to the industry, it will be useless.
Sure.
Because anything that's not useful is useless. So the university's knowledge must be relevant to the societal needs. So strong industry connection is very key. The gap between the academia, that's the university, and the industry is very wide.
Okay.
So every university must be like an innovation hub.
Yes.
Right, as a whole.
Right.
And must be able to connect with the industry so that it can actually solve issues that are relevant to the society.
Yes.
So, for instance, as a university, if we are doing research that is not relevant, it's not useful to the society, then it's not really.
So, for the decades we have come far from, and seeing that in Africa we're a bit lag behind in terms of practical, could we say that it was because of the gap between universities and industry?
Yeah, I think partly so.
Yeah.
Because if you look at like in Western nations, the universities in the Western nations, you will see that they have huge endowments.
Okay.
And most of these come from the support that they have from different industries. An industry, they may have a challenge, they may have a project, and then they will approach the university and say, okay, this is the project that we have, this is the problem that we're having. And that can even serve as projects that PhD students, master students will work on, and then they will fund it. So industries, they have research and development components or units that work with universities to solve their problem. So that gap also has contributed to where we are as a continent. But in addition to that, funding also is is an issue. How much budget does the African nations, put in terms of education and
Yes.
research?
Right.
Yeah, it's just recently in Nigeria that a National Research and Innovation Development Fund was set up.
Right.
But it's a move in the right direction.
Yeah.
I must say that.
So now, AUST. Could we say that AUST can AUST realistically produce patented technologies, new materials, or globally marketable products from such research?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's actually the vision of ASC, to
Okay.
train the next generation of African scientists and engineers that will solve Africa's problems, because Africa's problems cannot be solved by Westerners. It's
Sure.
not possible. It
Right.
will be us that will solve our problem. And that was the vision behind the creation of AUST, to train people that will solve the continent's problems on the continent.
Yes.
Yeah.
On the continent.
Yes. So we work, that's why
Right.
you see over the years, we've had a lot of the faculty are African professors in the diaspora who
Right.
come, yes, and then they
Right.
teach the students, they work with them, they do research with them. Then in terms of patenting, we are already gaining grounds on that. Within the last 3 to 4 years, ASC has registered over 12 patents.
Okay.
And like I mentioned, in my department, we just had a PhD student who, before he finished his PhD, he recorded 3 patents. In his work on
That's
corrosion
right.
mitigation using
Right.
local extraction plants.
Okay, looking at this, what makes the AUSC uniquely positioned to contribute to frontier engineering research?
Yeah, it's like I already mentioned, we have world-class faculty,
Yeah.
and then we have talented students,
Okay.
who are willing to, dig deep to study.
Yeah.
And then we have a conducive environment as well for teaching and learning. Then our approach to teaching and learning is project-based learning. Like, for instance, I'm teaching a course for second-year engineering students. On the first day,
okay.
after giving them the general outline for the course,
Yes.
I gave them a project. I said, okay, throughout this course, we are going to, look at, there are 10 projects which are relevant. You will use concepts from this course to do this project. So they are working, they are studying, they are seeing how, the concepts in the course will help them in their projects. And some of these projects has to do with, issues that we're dealing with, like energy. So they are seeing that what they're doing in class is relevant in solving a societal need. Then I also tailor it to the UN SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals,
Yes.
and the AU Agenda 2063 goals.
Right.
So they are seeing this. So it helps in that. And that's what all the lecturers are encouraged to do, project-based learning. So we have that approach at AUST.
Okay. So initially we talked about discovering other natural resources that have not been explored. How do you think artificial intelligence can accelerate the discovery of such natural
New
resources?
materials, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, artificial intelligence is a game changer. And, AI deals with enormous data sets. You're working with enormous data sets. And through artificial intelligence, we can use it to design new materials. We can
Okay.
use it to optimize material compositions. That's when you mix materials. Because there's what we call material science and engineering tetrahedron. It means that you have 4 nodes. You have the structure of the materials. You can tweak the structure, and then you get specific properties. Then you process it in specific ways to get it to perform in a particular way or for a particular application.
Yes.
So through artificial intelligence, new materials are being already discovered, because you can, without going to the lab, because going to the lab to first try it is trial and error. It's costly because you will waste a lot of materials before you can eventually get the optimal composition that you need to form a new material.
Sure.
But just sitting down on a computer, working with the right algorithms and models, you can, do different tweaks, and you get the right or a new material that will operate in a specific service condition or environment that you want.
Okay.
So it's a game changer.
Okay, it's a game changer, of course. Imaging technologies.
Yes.
It's doing us wonderful. How do you see imaging technologies in, like, let's say 2 decades to come?
I can't even just envisage, like, because when I usually teach the history of materials,
Yes.
before I start an introductory course on material science and engineering, I talk about the Stone Age, which I mentioned before, the Bronze Age, and then I get up to the Silicon and Electronic Age, which was in the 1950s, that's in the 20th century, and then now we are in the IT and the Nano Age. So I
Yes.
don't even know, the next age how it's going to be, because everything is shrinking. Everything is shrinking,
Everything is
and yes, it's
shrinking.
shrinking
Sure.
and it's shrinking, and
Sure.
we are getting to a point. I think is we are in the AI age actually, but it's really difficult to predict, how things will be.
This
Yeah.
nanotechnology, sir, I'm concerned about it. What role do you think this nanotechnology will play in future construction when it comes to construction?
Yeah, when it comes to construction, we are looking at the quality of the materials that are used for
Okay.
construction, the durability, the integrity, the structural integrity of these materials. So with nanotechnology now, we can have composites that will be more durable, that will be more sustainable. So we can have like cement, for instance, that is made up of low carbon, you know, through engineering those structures, we can have cement that's made of, and low carbon will mean that it is climate friendly.
Okay.
You don't, because the process of producing cement generates a lot of carbon that affects the climate, a lot of CO2 emissions. So if we are now able to use nanotechnology, we're able to get materials for construction that are more sustainable,
Okay.
yeah, and affordable, of course.
In nano form.
Yeah, no, not in nano form per se, not in nano form per se, but in the way the structure is tweaked. Because nano, it doesn't mean that, because nano, you can't see nano.
Yes.
Yes, you can't see nano. You need a microscope to see nano. But when we
Nano.
say nanotechnology, it's in the way the material is processed, such that you are using nanoparticles to make the structure. Yeah, and when you make the structure with nanoparticles, the way life is at the nano level is different from at the macro
Okay.
level. The
Okay.
macro level is what you can see.
What you can see.
Yes, the
Yes.
nano is you can't see it. But if you engineer the nano, you can control the macro.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the way it works.
That's the power of atom.
Yes, exactly.
Atomic power.
Exactly. The nano level is the atomic level. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what discoveries in material science could potentially emerge from addressing Africa's infrastructure challenges?
Well, we have to look at like advances in batteries, energy storage, energy conversion materials.
Yes.
Like for instance, we're talking about solar energy. Most of the solar panels that we use, we import them from China. Can we be making our own solar panels? I know now there are some efforts by NASENI to establish, solar cell fabrication plants. I know there's one in Nasarawa State that they're trying to set up, even though they have their center at Karshi there.
Wow.
But what they mostly do is they get the modules from China or elsewhere and assemble them.
Okay.
But how can we actually make these modules, these solar cells, and then assemble them by ourselves? Because that alone also will create jobs. That alone will trigger economic growth. So there are a lot of opportunities in different areas. Different materials, advanced composites, sustainable materials for energy transformation, and then even for water purification, because that's also another very key area.
Okay.
We have many
Sure.
communities that don't have potable water.
Sure.
Like currently, we have a PhD student that she is making some nanoparticles to use to remove heavy elements from water.
Wow.
If you go to some communities, they just go to the river, they fetch the water,
Fetch water
and
and
you
drink.
don't know the amount of heavy elements like lead and others that are in those in the drinking water. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Really, that's how it is. So, in villages, sometimes when you see what they consume, honestly, it's actually
Yeah,
terrifying.
it's terrible.
Yeah. What they drink it, and somehow they're okay. Could we say that? Could we say that maybe because
They are not okay,
the
because at
system?
times you will see somebody who just fall down and die, and they will say it's village
Sure,
people, it's witchcraft. And so.
sure, which
But
is witchcraft.
different things might have been happening to the person's system.
Yes,
Yeah.
sure, sure. So I think we're almost done with this interview. Viewers, Dr. Vitalis is on. He is the one who has been telling us about material science. As I told you, he is a dean of schools of engineering and also the head of department material science and engineering. The man from the Cameroon. The man from Cameroon. So we're on and discussion continues. Stay tuned. Please don't go away. Okay, welcome back. It's AUST on Queen Amina TV, and we have been discussing with Dr. Vitalis Anye, the man from Cameroon, here in African University of Science and Technology. Today is about material science, of course. So let's go, sir.
Yes.
What are the most common material-related failures observed in buildings across developing countries?
Mostly it's due to substandard materials,
Okay.
poor quality. Then, of course, there's inadequate quality control.
Okay.
Because if we have quality control, then those kind of issues will not be there. So, if substandard materials are used, because the materials at times, once they are used, they will appear satisfactory initially.
Sure.
But over time, they will deteriorate, due to maybe corrosion or fatigue.
Sure.
Quickly, they will set in. And because of that, the structures will fail. Initially, it's not visible, but over time, small cracks will just form, they will coalesce, and then it fails. So, if we address the issue of, poor quality materials, and adequate quality control, then I believe that we can actually reduce maybe the issue of failure in building structures.
Yeah,
by more than
when
50%.
buildings collapse in here in Africa, we actually put the blame on engineers.
Yes,
So, what would you say about that? Is it fair to blame engineers?
it is. Because the engineer at the level of designing, it doesn't just end at designing. When you design, optimally, you must also appropriately select the right material. It's what we call material selection.
Okay.
So material selection, you don't do it randomly. So you must, from your design, look at what are the properties. I talked about the material science engineering tetrahedron. So there's a relationship between the properties of the material and the performance. So if you select a material that, the environmental conditions, will affect it in service, then, already that it's going to fail, or it will not last as long. It will not be durable.
Okay. Do you think, sir, homeowners contribute to building collapse?
Maybe not. Because the first thing is, if the right thing was done from the outset,
Right.
The soil was tested, the design was also done properly, the environmental conditions in that particular setting or location was considered.
Right.
The different kinds of load, like I talked about, for instance, the wind load, because the structure is being loaded, and at times also, you can even look at what our own activities, the human activities, like for instance, you go somewhere and then you cut down all the trees. The trees are there to help us, aside giving us oxygen,
Sure.
they also help to shield the loads, like from the wind. So if you come and you brush down all the trees as a homeowner, then technically also you are contributing to the rapid collapse of the building.
Right.
If there's a high wind force. But the
Right.
engineer has their own part, and then the homeowner also have their own part to play.
part. So, sir, from several interviews and discussions, I've been able to deduce that people out there do not know much about all these things, and people are the consumers of everything.
The products.
Yes. So, what do you think about information? Is it a good thing for the system to design an information like outreach for people to be educated about these things on their own part, what they should do? Like in the case of homeowner, doing some stuff to contribute to building collapse. Can there be a like an outreach for people to be informed of the do's and don'ts they should steer clear, in order to get it right?
Yes, I would say yes, that is needed. And it should not be a one-off thing. It should be constant. It should be done repeatedly.
Yes.
And even for us as a university, we need to do more, in our immediate community to sensitize them
Right.
on what they need to do to protect their homes. Because at times, even the chemicals that we use, because you asked the question about, how the environmental conditions can also play a role
Sure.
in that. The
Sure.
chemicals that we use, some of the chemicals that we use, they tend to affect even the foundation of the building over time. You may not notice it.
Right.
So that is very key. And then, environmentalists also should be on a crusade to say, okay, plant trees, do this. I think today is a World Environment Day, so that kind of crusade on tree planting, should be made,
Sure.
and many others to sensitize the people. And at those local levels, that should be done. Then even at the national level, the National Orientation Agency and other relevant agencies should always, churn out programs to talk about these kind of things that affect us as a people.
Okay. So, thank you so much for this wonderful insight.
You're welcome.
Viewers, it's been Dr. Vitalis Anye, the man from Cameroon, who has been telling us about material science and on the topic engineering stronger futures, material innovation, and the science of sustainability. Sir, we will now go to you directly.
Yes.
Just a question about yourself. Tell us that one thing you've been wanting to achieve in your life that you have not yet achieved.
That's a very important question. While growing up in a secondary school in Cameroon, we used to trek a long distance to secondary school. So I used to see, like a huge dump site, heap of death. And at that point, one man who was an engineer in our community, he came and we were trying to do something on seeing how we can translate that the waste from that dump site into electricity.
Yeah.
So that motivated me. I was like, this is a huge potential. And then even when I came during my my master's, in my thesis, the first topic I selected was something called fuel cells, which has to do with converting waste,
Right.
into electricity,
Right.
like agricultural waste and the others directly into electricity.
Right.
But I couldn't achieve it at that time because we didn't have the platform and the lab facilities to do that here.
Right.
So I've
Right.
always been thinking about that because that is a major problem in my communities and even in communities around here.
Right.
How can we translate that waste into the energy that we need? So my goal is to keep on thriving, even though I still work on energy materials, doing different things related to that. But how can I continue to do research around sustainable energy materials and energy technologies that will improve lives? Because the ultimate goal is to improve lives while protecting the environment. Because having that dump site there is not good for the environment.
Right.
Yeah. So if we can take the waste off, the landfill, and then use it to create energy that will be useful, it will
Right.
improve the quality of lives of many.
Right.
Yeah. So I look forward to having to do those kind of projects.
Those kind of projects. Okay. There are people out there, younger people watching you right now, and they would like to career into material science. What would you tell them?
Yeah, I will tell them that material science and engineering is the mother of all engineering disciplines.
Okay.
You know, it's not really very popular, particularly at the undergraduate level in Nigeria, but in many climes in developed countries,
Yes.
that is the go-to engineering discipline because it's like the melting pot of all engineering disciplines. You are looking at how you can tweak materials, how you can engineer materials to perform different tasks.
Yes.
Because if you have knowledge of physics, of chemistry, of technology, engineering, mathematics, then you fit there. So, and it's very interdisciplinary. So whether you're coming from, like at the postgraduate level, we have students that have come from mechanical engineering background, students from physics, students from chemistry, students from civil engineering and the likes, and they are doing different research. Like I have a colleague that his undergraduate degree was in mechanical engineering, but he came here, he did his master's and PhD working on biomaterials using fabricating nanoparticles to use for cancer cell or cancer tumor delivery. Yeah, so it is a very good discipline, and young people that want to do different researches around how you can use materials, how you can tweak material properties for different applications, I will encourage them to try material science.
Younger people, I hope you're watching this discussion, and I believe you must have heard what Dr. Vitalis has been saying. This is a very lucrative field. You can imagine turning fossil, just a trash dump, into money, right,
Yes, yeah.
Doctor?
From waste to
Yes.
wealth.
From waste to wealth,
Yeah.
from W to W. So indeed, it's a lucrative one. So for you out there looking to study material engineering, this is the hub. Come to the African University of Science and Technology, AUST, and you will get what you actually want to major in this field and to become a professional. And tomorrow we shall see you smiling in your Bugatti. Of course. So this is the platform AUST on Queen Amina TV. We've been discussing with Dr. Vitalis Anye, the Dean of School of Engineering and Department of Material Science and Engineering, on the theme Engineering Stronger Futures. I hope you enjoy this interview and you'll be sending your children soon to this great university to come and get the degrees. Not just the degrees, get the skills. Not just the skills, get the entrepreneurial skills.
Yeah.
Then what? Get the money management. We call it financial management, but I'm saying it money management. Apart from that, also learn how to manage people. Wonderful. This is just what we actually want. Dr. Vitalis, what would you say to Africans watching us right now?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, we are the ones to solve our own problems.
Yes.
You know, so we must be intentional, and innovation is the way to go. You
Right.
know, we must innovate. We can even start from reverse engineering. You know, looking at the existing structures, you know, unraveling them and say, okay, how was this device or this component put together, and start from there. And then we now use our own local resources to optimize the performance of this. That is the only way that we can truly emerge as a continent.
Innovation.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, we can see all we have today, all we enjoy today came from innovation.
Yeah.
And innovation has no end, of course.
Yeah, it's open-ended.
Yes, it's open-ended, and we go, as it goes. So we have come to the end of this interview with Dr. Vitalis Anye, the man from Cameroon. Keep up with us on this platform, AUST on Queen Amina TV. We shall continue bringing exclusive interviews and many more to you viewers, so you can see and learn from this great hub as well as your children. It's your girl, Queen Amina from Queen Amina TV. Stay with us. Continue to follow us on our Instagram page, YouTube, Facebook. All the social media platforms are there for you to enjoy what we got for you. Stay tuned with us on Queen Amina TV. See you on another episode, and goodbye.